Hi, I'm Rita. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Life Worth Reading. Today I'm filming the end of the year book tag, which is kind of scary to think about because how is this year almost over? If in case you didn't notice, in the last couple of months I was not very active and my reading kind of went down a little bit, and so I actually didn't film a mid-year book tag, which I really missed doing because I do love that tag. I loved watching other people's videos of it, and I really unfortunately did not make it because I thought I had not read enough books and enough good books to make that tag. And so the middle of the year has gone by and we are now at the end of the year, but I thought that I would do my channel justice and that I would film this tag for you. This is not really in the tag itself, but I thought I could do a little reading update for 2023. Basically, I am now 40 books in my Goodreads goal. And what was my Goodreads goal? Well, at the end of the last year, I thought I would do amazing in 2023. I was in my reading era and I thought I'm going to do so much better next year. And so I very foolishly put up my goal at 100 books. I don't know why I did that. I have never read 100 books in a year. So I was very humbled by my progress on Goodreads. I was like 20 books behind. So I lowered it to 75, and then I was still very much behind, and now I have lowered it to 50, which I think I will achieve. We have 2 months left of the year, and I think that I can read 10 books. I have been doing really well in October, which is great. And yeah, I am 40 books in my Goodreads goal. So that's a little bit embarrassing, but I thought that I would just give you that reading update so you can know what type of things we're dealing with. Okay, so without further ado, let's just get into the questions. The first question is, are there any books that you started this year that you still need to finish? I think that this question maybe is for books that you didn't really want to DNF, but you just kind of happen and you do want to pick them back up again. And for that, I only have one book, because every other book that I have DNF'd, I do not intend to pick them back up again. I DNF'd them for a reason. But the only book that I DNF'd and I am willing to try again is Her Body and Other Parties by Cameron Machado. I DNF'd this book at the end of September or the beginning of this month. And I DNF'd it because the stories were just not speaking to me. I read a translated version. I read it in Portuguese. And I was not connecting with it. I enjoyed the first few stories, but then we got to the SUV Criminal Minds story and I just really disconnected with the book and I did not want to pick it back up again. And it still had like 4 or 5 stories to go. And I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't connecting with it. And I do love a short story collection, so that I know that's not because of the format. It was just the stories in specific. I just wasn't vibing with it. But I am willing to pick it back up again, and I think that if I would probably read it in English now. I think that translation just didn't really work for me. And that is the only book that I have DNF'd that I'm willing to pick up back up again, because the other 5 or 6 that I DNF'd, they were for a reason and I do not intend to go back there. The second question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? And I'm going to talk about 2. The first one is a book that I have talked about, I think, last year as well. And that is The Wanton Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. I have been wanting to read this book, I think, for almost 2 years now, which is kind of embarrassing. Yeah, at least it's like almost 2 years, like a year and a half. And I still haven't. It's a little bit big. It's like 500 pages, so it's a little bit intimidating to me. And this is about sisters that are witches, and I think that they also participate in a suffragette movement in England, so it's kind of a fantasy mixed with real life history. And I've heard amazing things about Alex E. Harrow's writing. I know that she has this book. She has also recently come out with The Starling House, which people are reading this season and really enjoying. And I do want to be part of the hype. I do want to read this, and I think that this is a perfect autumnal book to transition, like the witchy vibes, the little crow. I think that's a crow, right? It could be. I don't know. It just does give me autumn vibes, and I think that this would be a perfect read for autumn. And well, let's see if I can get it this autumn, because it is on my physical TBR and I'm trying to make a dent in my physical TBR. So we'll see what happens, but this I think would be one of the perfect books to read in autumn. And the other one that I know I've mentioned before, but now I do want a physical copy of it, is Nightcrawling by Lil Mle. Honestly, I only think of this book as an autumn book because of the cover, like that bright orange. Orange is just very autumn and Halloween to me. This book has nothing to do with either of those things, but it is about a girl and her brother, and they live alone, I think. And then both have dropped out of high school, and then the girl decides to start night crawling to pay her bills because she cannot afford her rent. I think this is set in New York, or no, East Oakland. No, not in New York. Girl, where did I get that? I don't know. But yeah, she starts night crawling and she's involved in this huge scandal with the Oakland police. So really nothing specific about autumn that I know of, but just the cover. Like, first of all, gorgeous cover, and just the bright orange, it just gives me autumn vibes, right? It does. So I think that this could be two great books to read during autumn to transition into this time of year. I got my little autumn sweater on as well. And I think that this book would be a great time. And let's see if I get to them before the end of the year. I'm not promising that, but there would be good picks. The third question is there any new release that you're still waiting for? And I'm going to say not really. I don't pay attention to new releases. I really don't. I just see other people's videos and I write down whatever sounds interesting as want to read on Goodreads, and that's kind of all that I do. I don't really look for new releases myself. I just kind of hear about them and I collect and I gather the information that I need to gather, and that's what happens. So not really. I actually went looking for books that would be releasing in November and December, and I didn't see anything that really spoke to me. So I did do research, but I'm going to say no. There is not a new release that I'm still waiting for. The fourth question is a classic. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Now these books are going to be a promise. These books are going to be books that I really want to read before the end of the year, and that hopefully you'll hear about me having read them in like wrap-ups. And those 3 books are in no particular order. First, I have Yellowface by R.F. Kwang, or Rebecca F. Kwang. And I actually borrowed this from my friend Mafalda. I have 3 books on this list, on this pile of books that she has very kindly borrowed me, and this is one of them. Mafalda has read this earlier in the year, I think in the summer, and she really enjoyed it. And I mean, who hasn't? This book was one of the most popular books of 2023, one of like the hottest new releases, because Rebecca F. Kwang, like, she's getting up there. She's one of the most, I don't know, like, known authors in recent times. Like, every book that she publishes, it's a bestseller. So I'm very excited to read about this book. I know this is about 2 frenemies. I think one of them is named June. I think that the main character is named June, and they are kind of like frenemies, and they've been trying to get into the publishing industry, both of them. But then one of the other woman that I can't remember the name of does publish, like, she's a published author, and I think June is not. And then the woman suddenly dies, and June takes her manuscript that she was writing and publishes it as herself, and she picks in an ethnically ambiguous name, and tries to publish it as an vaguely Asian person, a vague Asian author. And I think that this will be a lot of fun. A lot of people have been talking about it, and I think that I'm going to love it. I have seen some criticism for it, but actually Babel was also very criticized, so it doesn't really surprise me that people are criticizing books. But I am excited to read it myself, and it's a book that I really want to read before the end of the year, not only because I think it could still have a really good rating, but also because I need to give it back to Mafalda, and I really respect that. So I'm going to read this book before the end of the year for sure. The second one is a book that I bought in New York that I am so excited to read, and that is The Book of Goose by Lil Mle. I am so ready to read this book. I think that this is going to be like a 5-star book for me. This is a 5-star prediction for sure. I know this is about two friends that kind of have like sister vibes, and they get torn apart during their adulthood, and I think that one of them dies. And I love books about female friendships, sisters. I don't know, just give me female friendship and I'm in. And I think that I'm really going to love this book. And also it does give me a little bit of autumn vibes again. The orange is just a very autumn color to me, and I am very excited to read this book. You will be hearing about it quite soon, and let's hope that you're hearing a 5-star for me, because I desperately need those this year. And finally, another book that my father has borrowed me, The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kwang. Listen, 2 R.F. Kwangs in this book, in this list. Not a surprise, okay? I read The Poppy War last year, and I haven't continued on because I don't own it, and I like reading these types of books physically. I think that in ebook form I kind of lose myself a little bit. But this is massive. This is 650 pages. Like, I want to read this, but when am I going to have time to read a 650 page book? I don't know. I really don't know, but we'll see. I am really excited to read this book, but I don't know. I want to read this book, but I don't know. These are 3 books that hopefully you'll be hearing me talk about before the end of this year. I'm really excited to read all of them, so let's see if I can make that happen. Of course, there are many more, but we have to stick to the 3. And let's do it. Let's not overwhelm ourselves, okay? The 5th question is there a book you think will still shock you and become a favorite of the year? Honestly, any of the ones that I have mentioned, Yellow Face, The Book of Goose, I think those could be favorites, but I try to pick a different one. And actually, this is the last book that my father borrowed me. She borrowed me those 3 books. And this is the 3rd, Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson. And this is a really short book, thankfully. This is 150 pages. And I know it's about 2 people that meet, and I think that they fall in love. And I don't know, I've just been hearing amazing things about this book ever since it was published. Actually, this author has a new book that has either come out already or is about to come out. No, I think it's out already. And I don't know, I'm just very curious to read this book. I need a short win, and I need a 5-star. So I think that this could still probably be one of my favorites of the year. I'm not going to say favorite of the year because I don't know. But I think that this could be like a very strong 5-star for me, and I'm really excited to get to it. And the last question is, have you started making reading plans for 2024? I really haven't. Not anything specific, at least. I have to start thinking about it, but we're still in October. I still have time to think about it before the start of next year. But the one thing that I do know is that I do want to keep reading my physical TBR. I did a lot of damage this year. Like from the second half of the year, I just bought so many books. My TBR is now like it's 60 books, which is unheard of for me. I never used to have more than like 30. So I doubled my TBR, and I need to double the books that I'm reading from it, okay? I need to. So that's the only thing that I know for sure, is that I'm going to be making an effort still in the next year to keep reading my physical TBR, to hopefully make a dent in it, and yeah, not just accumulate books that I'm not going to read. That's the only reading plan that I have set for the next year. Anything else is still wide open. I am going to really think about the content that I want to make next year, towards like these last 2 months of the year. I'm really going to be thinking about it because I am really passionate about this channel. Next month and the end of November, it's going to be marking 3 years that I've been on BookTube. I haven't achieved a lot, but what I have achieved, I am really proud of myself for. And I'm really thankful for everyone that still watches my videos or new people that have come on. So I really do want to think about the content that I'm going to make next year and make reading plans and vlog plans and all of that. But I still honestly haven't. I just did my little comeback last month. So I'm still thinking about it and I still have time. I'm not going to pressure myself into having it all set in October. But yeah, the one reading plan, read that physical TBR because it's kind of daunting right now. Alright, so in terms of all the books that I'm still going to read before the end of the year, we have a few here that I think could still make it on my list of read in 2023. And let's just hope that the rest of the year continues on as October has been. It has been a great reading month for me. I've been reading a lot and I've been really enjoying what I've been reading, which is something that's not been happening a lot this year, unfortunately. So I'm hoping that the last 2 months of the year make justice to the rest of the flop that I have had in 2023. It has been a flop of a reading year. Alright, so that is the end of the year book tag. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more bookish content, and I'll see you in my next video. I hope you have a nice day, and also remember that life is worth reading.